Ana. Ara. Vallahi arabayı nasıl yaptı? Allahümme salli ala Muhammed ya Rabbi ya Resulallah. La ilahe illallah.
Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni expressed her condolences and promised immediate government support. "We will not leave Sicily alone with this tragedy." The flood also caused significant economic damage. Vineyards, citrus grove, and olive farms are blackboard on Sicily economy, where flooded and agriculture groups warn of millions in losers. Businesses in the historic center of Palermo may be closed for the weeks and a half a month. The Italian Meteorological Service has linked in disaster to the Medican and Mediterranean cyclones similar to the Trapon storm, since one the climate change is exacerbating such phenomena as a warning sea contributing to heavier rains and a violent storm. Residents clearing debris are in shock. Standing outside the damaged barrier, Rosa County said, "Sicily is used to the hardship, but this something else. We cannot fight this our own." A sudden and violent storm hit Sicily, leaving flooded streets and damaged houses, and residents trying to save themselves. Torrential rain, strong winds, and large hailstones swept across the island, hitting Palermo, Catania, and Messina particularly hard. "It was terrible," said Gianni Canti and residents of Palermo. "The hail broke out windows, and the water poured in the streets like a river. I have never seen anything like it." Emergency service worked for the full capacity, responded to fallen trees, blocked roads, and stranded cars. Several rivers, including smaller turbulence in Catania, they burst at their banks, forced dozens of families to evacuate. The streets to coastal towns were impossible, and local airports responded to numerous delays and cancellation. Historical cities were also affected. In Palermo, flooded inundated part of the cathedral and Quattro Canti Sequoia, while tourist centers such as Termini had to carry out emergency evacuation. Boats were washed away from their mooring, and the local market were forced to close. Meteorologists explained the storm as a collision between the Mediterranean low-pressure system and warm, humid air from the Africa. This great short but extremely intense storm. Agriculture area suffered significant damage. Olive groves, vineyard, and citrus orange were damaged by the hail, threatening both local economy and exports. Authorities called for emergency aid to affected farmers and businesses. A violent storm swept through Palermo, Sicily late Monday night, unleashed torrential rain, violent winds, and powerful lightning strikes that brought the historic city to near its standstill. Within just 2 hours, rainfall levels exceeded those typically seen in entire month, tuning roads into raging rivers and trapped dozens of motorists in submerged tunnels. Emergency service declared a state of alert. Firefighters carried out more than 500 rescue operations across the metropolitan area. Cars were swept away in Via Leonardo da Vinci. Off to the city burst roads, the residents scrambled the high ground as water poured the basements of a ground floor apartment. "It was terrified," said local resident Maria Conti. "The thunder shook in windows in a minute and the streets outside became a river. We could even open the door against the water pressure." Authority temporarily closed Palermo Falcone Belsicato Airport at a crossroad exceeded 19 km/h, made the land still unsafe. uprooted trees and tore off rooftops. In main airport temporarily suspended flights due to extreme conditions. We never experienced such fury, it felt apocalyptic, said airline worker Julia Romano. Meteorologists blessed the disaster on the Mediterranean cyclone, sometimes referred to the Medicaid, followed it towards the temperature to enlisted air masses. The hybrid system combined tropical as extraordinary storm futures may become increasingly frequent as a climate pattern shift. Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni experienced solidarity with the affected families, promised immediate government support. Our nation stands with Sicily, she said. We will rebuild and strengthen our defense against the changing climate. By dawn, the sky began to clear. Revealed the extent of devastation, collapsed roads, ruined crews in coastal areas along the parts of the Termini share. Official estimated damage in the tens of millions of euros, warning the recovery could take weeks. Meteorologists explained that the Mediterranean cyclone, sometimes called the Medicaid, formed south of the island, drawing warm, most air from the sea. This is great violent connective storm, the tropical link. Rainfall exceeded 150 mm in just 6 hours. Experts warn that such phenomena are becoming more frequent as sea temperature rise. Sicily Governor Renata Santa called the flooded sacrament of our fragility in the face of extreme weather. He announced that emergency funds are affected multiple to promise to accelerate drainage infrastructure improvement. The aftermath paints a grim picture. Destroyed cars collapsed, relating walls in entire neighborhoods collided in the mud. Local fishermen in the parts of Mazzara de Valle reported dozens of vessels damaged to surging tides. As cleanup crews walk tirelessly to move across Sicily is one of the ex-fire mixing their disbelief. We are used to rain, said farmer Salvatore Russa from the ENA, but this is sometimes else entire. With the most storms forecast in the coming days, Italy burst to further disruption. As some insights to how climate change is reshaping life to the most sun-drenched regions. In the second turn of event, Italy was thrown into chaos as the first storm wreaked havoc across the picturesque landscape of Sicily and Rome. The unrelated tempest, reminiscent of a scene of Dante's Inferno, left a trail of destruction in its wake, testing the resilience of these Italian people and their determination of republic their beloved cities. Sicily, now in the straddling Mediterranean coastal line and historic Kern, is almost hardest hit by violent tempest. The island, unusually a sure weather, were charged in the turbulent sea of fury, pouring the curse and related force. Torrential rain, accompanied by gales force wind, battered the region, caused widespread flooding, triggering landscape and uprooted centuries-old trees.